everyone. So today we're looking at old patches, alright? So we had a really good time out in Haspin. We did some mudding with this thing. We did some little hill climbing. And, we gave her, I honestly rallied her more than I thought. We didn't get a lot of the footage. Sometimes we just went out and we're having a good time. But, yeah, so as you can see in our last video, we had some issues with our back left wheel. So that was one of the things. So we're going to pop that wheel off. And it was the driver backside here. But there was a little aluminum shavings here in the rim. But it tightened everything back up and all that. I mean, I used a breaker bar or whatever and to tighten them up, and it tightened up good. And we had no issues. And we even did, you see a little smoky burnout. And it was all good. So I think it's fine, but we are going to take it off just to scope out, make sure there's not like a little play in the rim or anything like that. Other than that, our welds held up good on this side. I was pretty happy about that. I was wondering if it was gonna, that side was actually the worst side, and I was kind of worried about the framing apart because it's pretty thin. We patched up on the spot, and ended up working out pretty good. Now this side over here, which I'm gonna have to get a light for you guys, get our old Amazon lantern here. So you can see it started to split right there, and that's our shock mount, and it was just the bouncing and all that that caused that to happen. So, and it's already breaking all the way down there, which we probably weakened it when we were welding. I mean, it was probably already weak in the first place, but we could have maybe made it worse possibly when we were stick welding it. And yeah, so what our plan today is, oh, it's even, it broke up there too. So that's why, yeah. Cause we're probably gonna have to clean that all up and probably take another whack at it. But we do have some plans on actually making this stronger, so we don't run into this issue again. Everything else though held up. So yeah, because we have a bolt right there, but that had broken off right there. I think that was already like that. As you can see, there's a lot of shenanigans going on here because all your bolts that are supposed to go up in the frame just don't work. So this had already been actually welded on. That weld had broken, but I think that we got that. I don't know, that doesn't look very promising. Not promising at all. So we're gonna hit that with a wire wheel or a grinder or something, and then we're gonna put a jack under here to push it back up, and then we're gonna tack weld that. And then we're also going to, for now, we're gonna also just weld that up right there, and we're gonna see how it holds up for now. You know, it honestly looks worse the more I look at it. So we're still gonna just tack it up. Honestly, it's only got, we're gonna take it up to Michigan tomorrow, or you know, whatever. We're taking it up to Michigan, right? So it really only has to, I don't even know how much we're gonna drive it. We're really just taking it up there just to make a trip to go up to Michigan. So I don't know. Could be it could get some ripping out there. Either way, after we rip it, we'll take a look, make sure we're not gonna make anything extremely worse. So we have that. So our plan is tack that all up, put some welds on it, and then after the 4th of July, we're gonna bring patches back. We ordered some goodies for her, which, you know, it's probably more than what she's really worth, but for me, she's worth a lot. She's just been a good little Jeep for us and all that, and honestly, I love this Jeep being on our channel and all that, because I feel like it's a little bit a part of what everything we do, and it doesn't have to be the prettiest thing, you know, and it's so much fun to go out in the woods with this thing and not have to worry, and she's always reliable for us and all that, so I mean, that, for me, that means a lot. So it's a good little Jeep, and we'll keep on, as long as the motor, you know, we'll see how things go down the road. But you know, if we can keep on having this thing run by, you know, whether it's welding, you know, mechanical work, whatever, and it's not putting too much into it to where it's at the point to where it's like, all right, it's not worth it, we gotta do way too much, then that's when we'd have to cut our loss. But till that point hits, we're going to keep on ripping this thing, and we're going to make her better, and it's going to be pretty spicy by fall. So our other thing was, which again, I think this was already like that. Okay, this is actually pretty sturdy still. So I had noticed before that this is broken here, and I wanted to reinforce all this. I think it was one of those things that I seen it before the trip, and then because we were so busy, I probably forgot about it because we were literally, getting this thing ready, right before the trip. So we were trying to get everything done on it. So it's probably one of those things we just kind of sidetracked, and is what it is. So it seems pretty sturdy, but that's part of the other thing. We want to drop the tank, put some new fuel lines back there because all the rubbers are just dry rotted. I've never replaced a fuel filter back there. And actually we kept on always having a little fuel leak on the back of that thing, and in the tip of the rubber hose for the fuel line would crack and split, and then you leak. So I just always kept on cutting it. Well, I remember the last time I cut it, I had no more slack left. I couldn't cheat it anymore. I was at the max, so I knew the next time I had to do this, I would have to put fresh fuel line in, which involves dropping a tank. Which when we drop the tank, we're going to be doing a lot of other welding and work to it to try to reinforce this thing a little bit better. Because we're going to go, we're going to go taller with this thing. We got okay. I'm just going to tell you guys. Yeah, we got a lift kit for it. So we got a 4-inch lift, and what we're going to actually do is steal the wheels and tires off the CJ, and we're going to run conversion adapters on this so we can run that lug pattern. Just because I don't see a point in buying all brand new wheels and tires for this Jeep, because these ones could probably go on our other YJ if we end up doing that. And we actually wanted to more invest in getting a new wheel set up for our CJ, more of a drag setup, because we kind of wanted to eventually maybe play around and actually take the old CJ to the drag strip, whether it's going to be with her old motor or her future motor. It's the direction I want to go. Even if it's going cruise night in town, I'd love to see that thing. And the whole point of putting the drag slicks on the CJ, not to get too much into that, is we don't want to be running 33s. We want like a 29-inch tire, so it's not robbing all our torque and horsepower. So it's going to be way more lively with a smaller tire like that. And we already got our axles to support that, and probably get a locker too, so she means business when we hit the gas. Unfortunately, sometimes that just might mean we break something else. And that's the other thing with the Patches here. She is also going to get a locker. You can do only so much with open wheel, front and back. And we actually thought about maybe just welding the diff. We had talked about that. But my buddy actually just had a trip this past time, and he broke an axle. And it was just an unfortunate thing. And sometimes it happens. And here's would be the issue there. If we break the welds inside the diff, we're done. We need a new differential, or put new gears or whatever, and that's very costly. That would be almost the end of Patches if that happened. Or if we broke an axle, again, we're kind of dead in the water a little bit, and we're putting a lot more money and work into it. So it's kind of one of those things. So the good thing about like the locker, the lift kit, all this stuff, even if Patches dies, we will be able to take that stuff out and transfer it over to our other YJ that we have. So in that way, it's not really losing in a sense. You know what I mean? So we can have the fun with this Jeep, and then if something happens, then that Jeep's next in line anyways, and that would get the goodies and all that, and that'd become our next Jeep to wheel around the woods. So yeah, that's the story on that. But let's get that wheel off, and we're going to take a quick look at the rim. Alright, so we took our wheel off, and it's actually good to go. So we got our drill with our wire brush. We cleaned up all our spots there for our welds. We're gonna weld. We actually just got this thing finally set up, so we're gonna be using our argon. So we got our wire hooked up and everything like that. Should be good to go. Alright, so we're gonna turn the power on. So, good to go. Hook up our cable, and yeah, get our gloves and all that stuff, and we're gonna see if we can do any justice for old Patches here, and hopefully get this tacked up. So, you guys know every time we hammer on any of our Jeeps that go up to Silver Lake or sand dunes or anything like that, you know, sand's always pouring out. Well, I guess we got ourselves a mud Jeep now. So, here's how things got quickly out of hand with this welder. I love it. And obviously, we're still trying to get her dialed in, so these aren't no pretty welds. So we started welding this back together, and what was happening, we were burning a hole in the frame up here on top, and there's already a pretty big size gap hole here. So I'm like, heck, I found this piece of steel here. You can kind of see a little bit how it's shaped, and I started tacking up here because it's where I wanted to make sure I get it first. And we got it welded, so we put a thin bead right here. When I say thin, it's not like I meant to do thin, it's just that was our very first weld. And then we started to creep around the corner here. And yeah, we worked a bead down here, and then I wanted to run one more, which I wish I would have made that one a little fatter and continue it on more. Doesn't really seem like it's doing much. If I would have made it way fatter, it would have helped probably connect these two a little bit more. Maybe I'll beat it one more time. And then we were hitting with the hammer here, we beat the edge down here so we make some better contact with our weld, because we were going up here, and then it just become too far gapped where we couldn't, I shouldn't say couldn't, it just wasn't liking it. So we got that beat in now. We're going to finish our weld there. That'll be our temporary fix for this. We literally just poked at that and filled up that little crack that was there. Again, temporary fix. We are doing this probably about 4 a.m. by now. And it was supposed to be a quick project, but it is what it is. And we also got this welded up over here. That's good to go. This auto feature on this welder is awesome. This thing is just ripping. Oh, sorry. So, anyways, super impressed with this welder already, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. We are going to have a lot of fun with this thing, and this was rusty steel with mud, and yeah, just eating through it. So I can't wait to actually do some projects with good steel, and maybe even on more of a like a welding bench or something like that, to where we can you know, be a little bit more comfortable welding. See, we took our wheel off. We actually did most of that welding with our wheel on, and then I couldn't get a good swing at with a hammer, so I was like, alright, I'm taking this wheel off. I want to put another bead in here, and I want to be able to get a good complete weld on that. So we took our freaking wheel off. We got to air it up anyway, so we got the impact over here. And yeah, doing a lot of talking today, but this is an update on old Patches. And let's finish this little weld up right here, and then that'll probably be about it, guys. So let's finish this up, and then we're gonna wrap this video up. Alright everyone, so it actually had gotten super late that night. Well, morning, whatever. It was 5 a.m. when I opened the garage, and yeah, it was too late. And I forgot that I didn't even finish the video, and didn't even show you guys these welds. So I'm gonna show you guys these welds real quick. We got Patches all loaded up, ready to go to Michigan. And honestly, for our, you know, first welds with the machine, you know, not too shabby. We ended up, like I showed you guys, we put a piece of scrap steel in here, got that welded in, tried overlapping a little bit, didn't make that bead fat enough, but it is what it is. We're going to see what happens. So I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you later.